Hi, I'm Celine Perkins with Perkins Dry Goods. The video today is going to show you how to use the corner cutter tool to make fast flying geese the no waste way. The tool comes in a package with instructions. It has a table that tells you what to cut for different sized flying geese. There's also a formula if the size you need is not listed. The instructions go through how to use the tool with the no waste method, and there is a pattern on the back. And I'll be right back with more instructions.
Okay, the first thing you do is you take your large square and your 4 small squares and you draw a line diagonally from corner to corner on the 4 small squares. The cutting chart in the instructions will tell you what size to cut these squares. Then this is where the corner cutter magic comes in. You line up the squares with the raw edges matching. Then you line up, I'm just going to do one of these at a time, but it's important to make sure that all of your lines are going in the same direction. And I like to stack them up 4 at a time to cut them. It's just a little bit quicker. Then you take, there's a center line and 2 diagonal lines on the tool, and you align the diagonal lines with the cut edge of the square. Center line is on top of the line you've drawn, and then you cut that corner off. So you end up with a blunted square. Then the next thing that you do is you get your large square out. You place the small squares right sides together with that large square, and you line up the raw edges on the corners, and where the small squares would normally overlap, they will butt together. And this will reduce bulk in the seam, because now we're going to sew down either side of this for the next step. Okay, we've got this stitch down. Now we're going to cut it. Cut it on that drawn line between the stitches. And then you end up with these. You're going to fold these back and press. And so you have, I don't know, they kind of remind me of like maybe little fox faces or something. But this is the next step, and you take the remaining 2 small squares that you cut the corners off, and you line them up right sides together on these 2 units. Now we're going to stitch down either side of the line on both of these. So we end up with this, and then we take and cut between them to separate them. And now you've got 4 units. You have essentially no waste. You have very little bulk in this seam at the top. So now we're going to go and press these wings back. So now we've got our 4 flying geese. And one of the things that I did when I wrote the instructions was I increased the size of the squares just slightly so that you can trim these to the perfect size. If I don't do that, or in my experience, I would have trouble losing the seam allowance at the top, and sometimes these fabrics would bow a little bit, and I'm not sure exactly why that would happen, but it did. So this solved my problem. I hope it solves yours with that if you have it. So I like to use the wing clipper, and let's move this so you can see it a little better. The wing clipper has landmarks that allow you to trim perfectly. So the first step is to line up the point, and then you want these corners to line up with your seams here. And you trim 2 sides, very little waste, flip it around, and now You've got this little box that's showing you where you need to be, so I kind of split the difference, and I might go back and trim this up just a little bit better. But again, the corners are right where you want your seams to line up. And there you have it. You have Fast Flying Geese the No Waste Way.